All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. Housekeeping to do here. Sorry, number one, I hate daylight savings time. Just putting it out there. Number two, I received this rather cryptic message from YouTube AI, I believe, where it told me to be careful when I was approving my videos for monetization. And I haven't had any issues with monetizing videos over the past couple of years. On occasion, I might get something that says it's not suitable for all advertisers, which means they're not going to monetize it. But I haven't seen that in a while. So that was kind of weird. Okay. And coupled with all of the rabid deletions and censorship going on pretty much all over big tech platforms. It's just sad. You've got Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube who tend to block and censor content. Sometimes this content is really important too, because it could be life-saving information, or it could be the full story. Like now you have informed consent and you can make a decision based on all of the information and not part of the information. So I mentioned to my patrons over on Patreon that things might get a little bit interesting. I don't know. I'm not the boy who cried wolf here. I'm just letting folks know that based on some of the content I've done last fall, I got a warning for allegedly doing medical misinformation, which, if you know the way I do this channel, that was the one occasion I had a slip of the tongue and I should have redone the video, but I figured, yeah, this isn't so bad. And then of course it got flagged, and then they literally deleted the video and gave the channel a warning, which, by the way, that warning hasn't fallen off as of yet, which it should have, because I was under the impression it was 90 days, but it is still on my channel. So in any event, I'm worried, maybe paranoid, but I just want to let folks know what's going on. So that's it for the housekeeping stuff. Let's talk Styx, okay? I was sent a video by one of the patrons on this channel, and he sent it over and he said, can you believe this hideousness? I think he said hideousness. So I am a fan of this band. I am saddened to think that they could not pull something together for Dennis DeYoung. I'm just flabbergasted, actually, because they would have made a boatload of money, and it would have been a cool thing to see everybody up on stage. I think there would have been a lot of tears and a lot of good times and a lot of really well played rock music. But Styx, they did the Rock Legends 9 cruise. You know, it's the booze cruise atmosphere. They're playing music. They're trying to do the song Come Sail Away. And their current lead vocalist is breaking into things like We Will Rock You. And it's just a very karaoke experience. And here's where I'm at with all of this. As people get older, I think in some regards, they're really not concerned about the details. They just want to go to a show and have a good time. I'm trying to be Tim Pool here, if you know who he is. Like, he's always very like, well, I could see this point, I can see that point. My overarching point here, spoiler alert, is I can't stand this stuff, because it turns this great music into something that you can go to a bar and see, and you've got a vocalist, right, who is nothing like, he is really nothing like the original singer. All right. And you know how I feel about this situation. I'm ready to move on with it to some degree, but it still bothers me, because then you've got the fans of Tommy and the fans of Dennis, and then it's back and forth. And I think Tommy is talented. I've said this. I don't have anything against Tommy. JY, yeah, I don't know. I mean, come on. He's all right, but it's really a battle creatively between Dennis and Tommy. And this guy's been with the band for a very long time. This guy, Lawrence, Larry, as a lot of people refer to him as. And, he's up there. He's got the swinging or spinning keyboard. In this case, I don't think he has it, although it might spin. I don't know. This is, his shtick. And I've found it a little bit, I want to say distasteful. I don't want to say anything because a lot of people really like this stuff. It's like, hey, we're on a cruise. Here's a rock band. But to turn the whole thing into like a karaoke moment and you're singing other band songs, I think this is where I kind of lose it. You've got this great catalog, but you're not able to sing a bunch of songs in that catalog. Babe, Best of Times, Don't Let It End, Show Me the Way. That's 4 very big charting songs for Styx. You won't hear that at a Styx concert unless, they've added something and I'm not aware of it. I'm thinking maybe the Best of Times they would add, but these are quintessential Dennis DeYoung songs and they're personal in a way with Dennis. Dennis wrote them, recorded them, and, obviously with help from his bandmates at the time, but it's almost like, okay, we're not going to cross over into this lane because it's too obvious, even though they did it on Mr. Roboto. And of course, because Mr. Roboto was up tempo and they rock it up. They don't do it like it was recorded, which, I mean, there are a group of people out there who like to hear the song the way it was recorded, at least, somewhat in that area so they can actually recognize the song. So my friend was not, too impressed with Lawrence Gowan and his karaoke routine on the Rock Legends Cruise #9 back February 17th. I don't know. I would probably be watching this and saying to myself, man, they could have just hired for a lot less money. They could have hired a really good cover band where guys play their instruments, and they probably wouldn't have had to deal with all the schmaltziness. And see, Dennis DeYoung gets accused of all of this stuff, right? But if you watch a Dennis concert, it's song after song after song. There's some talk and there's some humor, and there's, Dennis is a bit quirky and old-fashioned, and he's very entertaining. So he adds that element, that showmanship element to it, but it doesn't come off as karaoke. Number one, because Dennis sticks to the catalog. He's going to stick to the Styx or solo Dennis DeYoung catalog. Whereas if you're up there singing Queen songs or Beatles songs or whatever, again, hire a cover band, save a bunch of money, and then say, hey, it's a tribute to the 80s or the 70s or whatever, and have the band just go off on all kinds of different tangents and do all kinds of different music from different bands. But it's almost as if they're saying, hey, we're Styx, but because we can't play these Dennis songs, or because now we're in a different era where people really don't care what we play, we're just going to play the music that we like to play. So if we're going to play the Beatles, you're going to enjoy it. It's the Styx, Styx doing the Beatles. And yes, I know they covered it on one of their albums. They covered a Beatles song. And this is more recently. My guess is Dennis would have been like, no, let's write some music here. Let's be creative and let's keep going with this. But it seems like people are just throwing their hands up in the air and go, yeah, we've got to keep this music alive. So we're going to be performing the music of other people and putting it in there. And look, here's the Tim Pool aspect. It's a booze cruise. Basically, people are having a good time. They don't really care. Okay. They don't care. They're just there to have fun. The band is kind of like, another, I was going to say accessory on the cruise, but there's a better word for it, and I can't think of it right now because I'm getting old. But you amenity. So the band is another amenity that you get when you go on this cruise. You got the free food, you got the dancing, you got the great views, you got the swimming pool, you got whatever else going on. And here's a band. So let's just go and stop and watch the band. This is a Rock Legends cruise, so it's devoted toward music. But I wonder sometimes, if this is just for folks with lots of disposable income. It's like a hobby. Whereas when we were younger, we went to a concert, we had that ticket stub, we went to the stadium. I mean, we wanted to hear the music of that band. And I'm not saying bands didn't do cover tunes in those days, but this comes off more as a Las Vegas lounge act. And yes, some of us are getting a little long in the tooth, and maybe we just like this kind of stuff, you know? I'm not in that category. When I go see a band, I want that band at full strength performing the music that they recorded. I don't mind tangents and going off here and there, but the atmosphere itself kind of diminishes the legacy of a once great rock band. I'll say it like that. And even trying to be diplomatic here, I understand, you know, the Tommy Shaw newer music and the new stuff that they've done isn't bad. Like the last two albums they've recorded, they're not bad albums. They're pretty good albums. The problem is there's no outlet for that music anymore. And you can put as much effort into it as you like. You could say, yes, we're going to keep going, but we can't get any songs on the radio, and no one's going to know these songs when we perform them. You know, they've come for, you know, the best of times and Come Sail Away and Too Much Time on My Hands, whatever. That's what they've come to hear. And for better or worse, I think that's the legacy you probably need to hold on to. You can't fully embrace it, though, if you don't have a singer that sounds like the guy who you fired. Just that's one thing that is very obvious here, and I've been saying it for a number of years. It's not that I just can't deal with the fact they don't have Dennis. I have this other issue where, okay, if you're going to get a replacement, and I've mentioned them in the past, guys like Mark Shearer, and there are others out there that are really good at sounding like this. And I understand you need a keyboard player, you need this, you need that. And that makes sense. Although for the band Chicago, it doesn't matter if you can play the position instrument. Like you don't have to play bass anymore to sing the Peter Cetera parts in Chicago. So maybe they're just trying to cut corners. Look, this guy worked out for them. He's their guy because maybe it's his personality. He's easy to deal with. Whereas the rumor is, according to these guys, that Dennis is hard to deal with. But yet, you know, I talked to guys like August Zadra, who's been working with Dennis DeYoung for a number of years. So now I have firsthand testimony from Dennis's lead guitar player that he's a great guy and he's easy to work with. Anyway, karaoke, rock cruises. Yeah, it's really not in my wheelhouse anyway. I won't be going on a cruise anytime soon. Too much of this going on, and then you add a couple of beers to that. I know the boat is fairly stable, but I'm still, just wondering, is there maybe a better place where I'm not stranded out in the middle of nowhere? I'm getting sick and I'm in my hotel room or in my cabin, I should say. And I don't know if it would be a fun time for me. So I'm just a land lover, and I'll just stay on the dry land, and I'll wait for a band to show up who's going to play their catalog straight up. I am planning on seeing Journey at some point, so I'll let you know how that goes. But for now, it's Styx on the Rock Legends 9 cruise, and you can go check it out. I will drop a link in the description of this video, and you can judge for yourself. This might be stuff that you love. You love this kind of stuff. You know, eventually they do get around to singing Come Sail Away, all right, which is, you know, another Dennis song where Dennis is sorely missed. It's a cornerstone to this band, no pun intended, and it should really be sung by the guy who can sing it the best. And if you can't find him, then you need to look for somebody who's a close second. And I bet you there's a close second right now who's probably in an unknown cover band somewhere, you know, and not getting any fame or fortune, but actually doing justice to the song.